G'day folks, Corey Hind, marketing, SEO, all that sort of good stuff that helps to grow your business. Hope you're well. Now, very frequently I get questions from people online, in person, on the phone, which is, have you got any latest, greatest SEO tricks, tips, SEO hacks? This is close to one of those things. Now, I generally advise people to work on their website and their SEO in a slow manner, building up information on their site, building up links, building up content so their site ranks well and stays the course. This is a page that I recommend people consider building for their site. In fact, I recommend everybody does do this. Now, the reason I've filmed this at the moment is that I'm working with a whole bunch of people doing an SEO course, and this was going to be a bonus lesson for them, but I thought I'd put it on YouTube because it's just a really good idea, and I want you to think through this for your website. Stay the course because there's a few little bits and pieces to this that I want you to consider. This is more or less how I do things when I'm helping somebody with SEO. Once we've fixed up all the technical sides of their site and fixed any errors, made sure that we've got a bullseye phrase and that's in all the appropriate places, we start to look at content and how we can get content onto their website to help Google find and rank them. And this idea is just a straight up winner. Okay, it's called FAQs for SEO, which obviously stands for frequently asked questions. Now, it's a foundational page that I think all websites should have at some point. All right. Jot that down. You need an FAQ page. All right. It's something that's really useful. Now, I'm going to show you one I found just doing some research earlier on. I just threw into Google plumbing businesses, Sydney, Australia. Okay. Which is a great city that I used to live in for quite some time. Now, a couple of sites rank really high. I just grabbed one of the top couple and they have an FAQ page on there. It looks kind of like this, okay? Pipes and drains, which is obviously a very strongly related phrase in the plumbing game, pipes and drains. And if you look at the page, there's a whole bunch of little drop downs. What is the best way to unblock an outside drain? Who is responsible? All those types of things. That page was actually far more extensive than that. They had about 10 different questions on there, and they probably went through a process like I'm describing now to figure out which questions to put on that page to A, educate and help people, but to B, help them rank higher on Google. They go together. Okay, now I've got a point here which I want to highlight for you. That is, don't assume that people know things. Okay, help educate them because that's great for your own reputation. It makes you look like an expert in your field because you are, but it also helps you to win on Google. Okay, so what a great thing. If we do information gathering, we put it on our website, we put on FAQs about our topics that we know about, it helps to brand us as the experts and Google as well. Google finds us because we've got that information on our website. Okay, so hopefully you can see that an FAQ is a good idea. All right, so I've lifted some questions from my other video that I put out last year, which is about how to create content for your website. The questions I've got here are more about how to create questions for your FAQ page. So we'll shoot through them quickly. The idea is, guys, as you go through this video, grab a pen and some paper and just jot down some notes, okay? Because you're going to end up with a whole bunch of questions that you're going to pop onto a page on your website or your blog, and you're going to put some detail under each question so you build up that knowledge base, and Google sees that and goes, wow, these guys deserve to be ranked up the top of our search engine results page. So here's the first one. When the phone rings or people message the business on Messenger or LinkedIn or Google My Business, what questions are they asking? Okay, you'll get lots of questions repeatedly and you're probably sick of answering them, so it might be useful to put them on the FAQ page. But if you think back about the questions you receive, you'll have 3 or 4 or 5 that pop up all the time. So make a note of those because they're probably fantastic questions to put on your FAQ page. What's the top one? Okay, what's the most frequent question you get that must be on there and probably should be at the very top as well, because it becomes almost like an H1 heading for the page. Okay, so what's the most frequently asked question? Pop that there. Next one will be to ask your staff or your team or anyone who's a contractor or anyone who's any involvement with the business as an employee or contributor. Ask them, what are people asking you that we should have on our page? Now, this next one is really the crux of how I do it myself, which is I'll go to Google and Google will advise me what to put on there. Okay, so for example, in our current course that we're running, we have a business consultant, business advisor, business coach. Okay, they're the phrases people look for. She calls herself a business advisor, but I think more people would probably search for business coach. So when you pop business coach into Google, Google does a lot of the heavy lifting for you, okay? You'll see halfway down the page, you get a box like this, which is people also ask. And you can click on those and they'll give you links, more information. There's little drop downs here which will give you some information that Google throws up. But these here are some questions that you should have on your FAQ page. So you might put in as search mechanic near me, and it'll ask, you'll get this sort of stuff halfway down the page. Okay, so those are questions that you should have on your FAQ page. Sometimes you might not want to have, like for example, are business mentors free? You may or may not want that there, depends on the search volume. Personally, I would put it there because Google is saying people are searching for this, so you should have it there because Google will reward you with traffic. Okay, down the bottom of the page, you'll also see related searches. That's the current setup for Google. Halfway down the page, you get people also ask, which is a big indicator. Down the bottom, you've got related searches, and you can click on any of those boxes and it'll give you more ideas. Okay, the whole idea is we want to just make a short list of questions, 10, 15, 20, that you can put together on your frequently asked questions page to build it out. Okay, now I'm in Tauranga, New Zealand, so it's going to throw out things like Business Mentors Tauranga, Business Coach Hamilton, which isn't too far away, all right, Business Coach in New Zealand. But you get the idea. Okay, this one here often will pop up. How much does a blah, blah, blah cost? So they're things to think about, all right? Next point, when a friend asks you about your business, what are they asking? You know, your friends are probably quite honest and go, I don't quite get it. What exactly do you mean by that? And they'll probably drill down on certain things. So just make a note of those conversations you have when people ask you about your business. What are they asking you? That's a great way to build out your FAQ page. Okay, remember, we eventually want to end up with something that looks a little bit like this, and you can add to that over time. Okay, now if you're really gutsy and you want to destroy your brain for a while, do this one, which is visit answerthepublic.com. Just throw Answer the Public into Google. It'll take you to the page, but it's answerthepublic.com, and have a play around with some ideas. So I put business coach into Answer the Public, and you get this, you can't really see it that well here, but you get this cool little visual. I really love them. Business coach in the middle, and then it branches off to a whole, around the outside, there's a whole bunch of questions. It'll generate, there's probably 30 or 40 questions there that you could jot down and think, yeah, I do get that question, okay, and just write a little paragraph about that. This process could take you a month, but in the long run, incredibly worthwhile for your business and for your website to drive traffic, because there's just so much free traffic out there, and I want you to get those people coming to your business, not your competition's business. Okay, so Answer the Public is something that we use quite often. There's a whole bunch of tools and tricks and tips that we use in terms of getting ideas for FAQ and content for clients, but it's a key part of what we do as SEO consultants. Once we've fixed up a website for the obvious stuff, we've identified a bullseye phrase and some related phrases that we want to win, we start this sort of process. We start generating content ideas. And if you don't have, tons of time and resource available, an FAQ page can be the ultimate page for your website that makes you stand out from the competition. All right, so really get into it. Now, once you've built the page, okay, it could take a while. You can use the questions that you've got as what I call micro content. Okay, so micro content just means little bits and pieces that you might throw onto Facebook or LinkedIn or Google My Business or even Twitter, essentially as conversation starters. Okay, just to drive some more conversation, get people commenting, asking questions, reaching out to you about your area of expertise. That can give you more ideas for more content, or emails that you might send out, or full pages on your website. Or B, it can get people talking and having a conversation with you, and they might just say, hey, you're obviously the expert, can you help solve this problem for me? And really, that's the idea. We want people to identify, and Google to identify, that your page is a place of great resource that they should visit, and demonstrate that you are an expert in that field, and then take the next step to becoming a customer with your business. Okay, so plot summary, guys, probably one of the best ideas you can have if you've got limited time and resource for winning on Google via SEO is to create an FAQ page. Okay, if you have questions about how to do that for your business, pop them in the comments below and I will answer them. I'll get around to it at some point. And yeah, don't forget to subscribe to the channel as well. All right, so I'm going to head off. Hopefully that's a useful video for you, and we'll talk again soon. Bye for now.